Breaking U.S. military deployed after Obama is caught. An unbelievable act of treason. Several days ago, shocking new information surfaced about Obama's unbelievable acts of treason. Undeniable evidence emerged how Obama worked hand-in-hand with ISIS terrorists to secure massive amounts of weapons and arsenal to their terror group. Just several days later, alarming information was revealed how Obama turned a blind eye to Hezbollah's drug trafficking and money laundering operations in order to appease Iran and ensure his Iranian nuclear deal would be finalized. Now breaking reports of another Obama scandal is blowing wide open involving the former president's disturbing ties to a Taliban crime ring that's so alarming that drops generals are proclaiming that the gloves are off. The textbook definition of treason is aiding and abetting the enemy of the United States, which is exactly what Obama continually did for the past 8 years while we were aware of Obama emptying out Gitmo and putting Iran on a path to nuclear arms. It's now being discovered that Obama worked alongside the Taliban in Afghanistan to ensure that the terror group would become the world's top leader in heroin, where their enterprise is now generating billions of dollars for the terror group to carry out their operations against the West. Obama formed unholy alliances with drug lords during his operations in Afghanistan. The Taliban in Afghanistan has spent over a decade funding their operations from opium farms and their mass production of heroin. This was able to take place under the Obama administration, which refused to target their lesson operations. Obama allowed the Taliban to become the world's top producer of heroin, generating billions for the terrorist outfit. Conservative Daily Post reported Obama's illicit Taliban drug ring is only the beginning of scandalous information flowing in this week. While Obama's backroom deal to put Iran on a path to nuclear options has been known for a while, a new breaking scandal reveals that Obama was willing to do whatever it took to find the Iran nuke deal, even if it meant putting the lives of every single American at risk. Dennis Michael Lynch reports, according to Politico, the Obama administration turned a blind eye to Hezbollah's drug trafficking and money laundering operations, some of which were unfolding inside the United States to help ensure the Iran nuclear deal would be finalized. A project led by the Drug Enforcement Administration known as Project Cassandra reportedly targeted Bellini's militant group's criminal activities, which included gun and drug tracking, equal to $1 billion, but by tossing a string of roadblocks holding back the project, Obama administration officials helped Hezbollah to grow into a major global security threat, bankrolling terrorists and military operations. The report added, in conducting its report, Politico spoke with former Obama administration officials who were involved with the anti-Hezbollah efforts. They claim Obama and his team stopped the U.S. task force from bringing down the criminal network when Project Cassandra leaders sought approval for some significant investigations, prosecutions, arrests and financial sanctions. Officials at the Justice and Treasury Departments delayed, hindered or rejected their requests. Political commentator and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer recently went on Fox News and made the calls for Obama's immediate arrest. If a company did this, a CEO would be in jail right now, he stated on a recent segment on Fox News. Thanks to Obama, not only has ISIS risen to power with the massive stash of American weapons they now have at their disposal, but the Taliban now has a multi-billion-dollar heroin enterprise they're now using to actively fund terrorism against our country. Breaking raids overnight just confirmed liberals' worst nightmare. Hurricane Maria devastated and almost completely wiped out Puerto Rico last year, and the fight of getting supplies to the people has raged on ever since. The Puerto Rican mayor has literally stood in front of supplies provided by the U.S. and stated that Trump isn't helping at all while wearing freshly printed shirts and hats. The left seems to be so blind that believing her lies while looking at the very supplies she claims to not have as a new level in complete mental illness and ignorance, and they are still chewing on that false piece of fat. Sadly for the people of Puerto Rico, many of which still don't have water or power, their liberal officials have taken a stand to resist Trump that is so hateful that the federal government is now refusing to work with him. However, a recent trade type of action by FEMA agents with armed security have found that all of the supplies are there and were in fact being hidden from the citizens. This is far worse than simple political posturing of Democratic officials. This is wanton and intentional abuse and neglect of the very people they are sworn to help. According to the Federalist Papers, back in October we reported that local officials on the island and were only distributing relief supplies to their political allies, leaving everyone else without the aid they were promised, according to FBI Special Agent Carlos Osorio. People call us and tell us about some misappropriation of some goods and supplies by supposedly politicians, not necessarily mayors but people that work for the mayors in certain towns. Osorio further explained they're supposedly withholding these goods and these supplies, and instead of handing them out to people who really need them, there are claims that local officials are assigning them to their buddies first, people that have voted for them or people that contributed to their campaigns or whatnot. That was bad enough, but a recent discovery by FEMA agents shows that the local government has been hoarding relief supplies in a way rather than distributing them as required. According to The Intercept, FEMA agents entered a public utility warehouse and found a massive store of rebuilding materials. The supplies bought with taxpayer money were supposed to be distributed to contractors to aid in the rebuilding process, but they were kept in the warehouse by the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority. Who knows when these supplies arrived on the island? The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers confirmed the report to The Intercept. Armed FEMA agents toured the facility with PREPA and immediately started distributing the supplies to contractors. Best if the federal officers were armed when they entered the warehouse. Uses spokesperson Luciano Vera said they were indeed accompanied by security detail and quickly began distributing the material after seizing it. Vera declined to say whether there was a confrontation at the entrance, saying only that PREOP officials ultimately toured the warehouse along with the Fed's utility workers from the mainland. Us have traveled down to Puerto Rico to aid in rebuilding the island's infrastructure, but were often unable to complete critical work because of a lack of necessary resources and supplies. A security contractor who recently returned from Puerto Rico told The Intercept that crews of linemen brought down from the U.S. were frustrated about the lack of rebuilding materials, which made it virtually impossible for them to fix downed infrastructure. Paraphrasing conversations with the electric crews he accompanied, the source said one worker told him that we just sat in the truck and watched a movie because we have nothing to do today around Christmas. A lot of the power workers were saying we are going on vacation because we couldn't do our job because PRETA was making it so difficult. The source's job involved escorting contractors tasked with reconstructing down power lines. He was deployed on the island for over a month by a subcontractor of Cobra Acquisitions LLC, which in the fall received a $200 million contract with preparatory per its grid. They didn't have anything to do or to work on, he said. About many of the linemen with whom he worked, they had a bunch of poles but no lines or any of the stuff that goes on the poles. They were just setting bare poles, getting as far as they could go. Prepper has been the island's only electric provider for decades, and in that time it has been rife with corruption and incompetence. The commission that sets rates is largely made up of political appointees and not those who understand electrical power plants. Much of the infrastructure has fallen into disrepair over the years. Reforms were attempted in 2014, but any progress made was immediately undone by the new governor, who restored the previous power structure that fostered corruption and terrible service. What's the moral of the story here? The supplies have been sent to Puerto Rico by FEMA and other agencies, but local officials have been playing games with the relief resources, either hoarding them or likely doling them out solely to political allies. These actions are illegal and should be dealt with on a legal level. The Puerto Rican officials who are a part of this blatantly and gross abuse of their people belong behind bars. This is the kind of thing that has killed many, and it is all due to a liberal wanting to be nasty towards our president. The entire idea that President Trump did nothing to provide all that was needed to the people of Puerto Rico is absurd and frankly dangerous. Children have died, people have starved, dehydration is rampant, and illnesses are popping up daily without the proper supplies. That in and of itself should be counted as murder. The Puerto Rican mayor is the one with blood on her hands. Here we go. Breaking news from Sheriff Joe, and it's all about Obama's fake birth certificate. Hell yeah. Former Sheriff Joe Arpaio has said he's had evidence that Barack Obama's birth certificate was a phony document for a while now. After an interview on CNN, however, he doubled down, saying no one in the mainstream media wanted to cover the evidence found. Arpaio announced Tuesday that he is running for the Arizona United States Senate seat currently occupied by Senator Jeff Flake, who is retiring from Congress at the end of his term. No doubt about it, we have the Evidence. I'm not going to go into all the details. Yeah, it's a phony document, RPO said on Cuomo Primetime, according to CNN, which, keep in mind, is biased against Joe Arpaio. As evident in the interview, Arpaio was a staunch supporter of President Donald Trump during the campaign and was pardoned by the president in August. The former Maricopa County sheriff was convicted of defying a court order to stop racially profiling Latinos, and he has been widely criticized for his hardline stances on immigration. RPO has also annoyed the biased liberal media outlet by acquiring evidence that Obama forged his birth certificate. Birtherism, as CNN put it, was touted by RPO in the past, and when speaking to CNN's Chris Cuomo on Wednesday evening, he once again said he has proof that Obama's birth certificate is fake. RPO even perhaps threw some shade at Cuomo. He said he does support Trump and he doesn't like how some people have gone after him, but Cuomo fires back, asking if RPO no longer agrees to profile Latinos. Was the birtherism and mistake, asks Cuomo. Oh, now you're bringing that up. RPE replies, let me tell you something. He continues, I started this because a fake document, a government document. I didn't care where the president came from, I didn't care at all, and we have the evidence. Nobody will talk about it, nobody will look at it, and anytime you want to come down here, anybody will be glad to show you the evidence. Cuomo pressed RPE, oh, again on the topic. So you believe that President Obama's birth certificate is a phony? No doubt about it. RPE said this article was written by Max Levo and was originally published at JustPlant.com. Crooked Hillary attacks Trump gets humiliated when people notice one embarrassing detail. Upon seeing that the mainstream media has been attacking President Donald Trump for allegedly referring to certain countries as shitholes during an immigration meeting, Hillary Clinton thought it was a good time to re-emerge from her cave to attack her rival. Crooked Hillary quickly took advantage of the opportunity to bash the man who dished out her embarrassing election loss, but her cocky attitude quickly turned to humiliation yet again as soon as people noticed one sad detail about her attempted assault on Trump during an immigration meeting on Thursday. President Donald Trump reportedly asked a group of pro-amnesty senators why the United States should welcome immigrants from shitholes like Haiti. Of course, this report is unconfirmed and the information varies based on who you ask, with even Jake Tapper, reporter at liberal-leaning CNN, arguing against the claims. Regardless, as soon as Hillary Clinton heard the rumors, she immediately jumped at the opportunity to bash President Trump, but she was immediately left humiliated when people noticed one embarrassing detail about her remarks. As Crooked Hillary quickly took to social media to act like a keyboard warrior, she'd soon realize her big mistake and rapidly come to regret it. As Washington Examiner reports, Hillary Clinton tweeted, the anniversary of the devastating earthquake 8 years ago is a day to remember the tragedy, honor the resilient people of Haiti, and affirm America's commitment to helping our neighbors. Instead, we're subjected to Trump's ignorant racist views of anyone who doesn't look like him. The anniversary of the devastating earthquake 8 years ago is a day to remember the tragedy, honor the resilient people of Haiti, and affirm America's commitment to helping our neighbors. Instead, we're subjected to Trump's ignorant racist views of anyone who doesn't look like him. Hillary Clinton at Hillary Clinton, January 12, 2018. As a result, she is now eating her words as the attention has turned to her because of the mistake she unknowingly made in her rash comment, namely Hillary has no place to say anything about Haiti. Considering her history with the country, she provided the perfect opportunity for those with knowledge of the situation to point it out to her ignorant followers. How dare you tweet about the anniversary of that disaster after you stole so much money from the proud Haitian people? What you and your sicko husband did to that country should be criminal. You are truly a vile individual. You stole from that country. Joey Manorino at Manorino Joie, January 12, 2018. How dare you tweet about the anniversary of that disaster after you stole so much money from the proud Haitian people, responded Joey Manorino, co-host of Your Voice at My America, adding, what you and your sicko husband did to that country should be criminal. You are truly a vile individual. You stole from that country and he was just getting started. You are truly a sick and ignorant woman. Do you not see the irony of this tweet? What you did to Haiti will never be forgiven. You will pay, if not now, in your afterlife. Joey Manorino at Manorino Joey, January 12, 2018. Where the hell did that money go? You built one factory in a part of Haiti that wasn't even affected, and it was all given to contractors with involvement in the Clinton Foundation. Trump may have said the ignorant things, but you did without a doubt evil things. You ruined Haiti. Joey Manarino at Manarino Joey, January 12, 2018. The Haitian people hate you. Joey Manarino at Manarino Joey, January 12, 2018. After pointing out that Hillary is a sick and ignorant woman, Manarino reminded her that what she did to Haiti will never be forgotten, using the opportunity to ask her where the money that was raised for Haiti. Trump may have said the ignorant things, but you did without a doubt evil things. You ruined Haiti. And obviously enraged, Moreno fired back at Hillary, who no doubt wanted to hide at this point, before he reminded her the Haitian people hate you. Yes, this is definitely a case where someone who lives in a glass house shouldn't throw stones, but it gets even worse for lying Hillary. Even if Trump did call these countries shitholes, the fact of the matter is they are. It's the truth. Something Hillary doesn't know much about. By definition, Ethel means an extremely dirty, shabby, or otherwise unpleasant place, as a simple Google search will show you. That being said, there's a reason migrants from the places mentioned want to come to America in the first place: to get out of the shithole they are living in and to seize the opportunities the United States has to offer. Breaking: Trump just did it, he said. It was treason. Enjoy Gitmo. President Trump's first year in office has been filled with turmoil from the liberal plot to pin some sort of illegal activity on him. It is the prerogative of law enforcement and the legislative branch to investigate any person, no matter how powerful, if they think that there might be collusion at play. However, that power is being abused to the point that the investigation is dragged out like a PR nightmare for the person being investigated. In the case of President Trump, his entire tenure as president has been spent running the free world while fighting off one allegation after another, the most prominent of which is the special counsel into Russian collusion headed up by Robert Mueller. Even though the president welcomed that investigation at the start and it became more evident that they were just on a witch hunt, needless to say most people have grown tired of it. The most recent information in that investigation doesn't reflect badly on the president, as the liberals had so earnestly hoped. Instead, the very team investigating the president was compromised. The president commented in an interview Thursday with the Wall Street Journal that he would go so far as to say that an FBI agent who was removed from special counsel Robert Mueller's investigative team is guilty of treason. The Daily Mail reports that this comes after the text messages of the agent were released in the course of the investigation. He was referring to Peter Strzok, an FBI agent who had been assigned to work on Mueller's team investigating potential ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. A man is tweeting to his lover that if Hillary Clinton loses, will essentially do the insurance policy will go to phase 2 and we'll get this guy out of office. Trump said, "This is the FBI we're talking about. That is treason. That is a treasonous act." What he tweeted to his lover is a treasonous act. Trump had confusing text messages and tweets. Strzok was removed last summer following the discovery of anti-Trump text messages he exchanged with an FBI lawyer who was also assigned to the team. Treason is defined in law as aiding an enemy of the United States. That investigation might seem vague or convenient for President Trump, considering that he is being investigated by this team. However, the evidence is not lacking in specificity. In fact, Republican investigators have pored over the text messages between the two agents who were working on the probe and consequently sleeping together. Buried among the 10,000 text messages between the pair are several that make reference to specific journalists' parse articles mentioning the Bureau and include language that could indicate advanced knowledge of publication of news stories. Strzok, deputy head of counterintelligence at the FBI, got reassigned from the Russia probe after it was discovered he had exchanged anti-Trump messages with FBI lawyer Lisa Page, with whom he was having an affair. Strzok got reassigned to the FBI's Human Resources Department in August. Another message refers to a Washington Post article that laid out a timeline for the Hillary Clinton probe. Sari Rivitsky called Page wrote mentioning the FBI's chief of staff. Timeline article in the Post is super specific and not good. Doesn't make sense because I didn't have specific information to give. Those messages would lead one to believe that Strzok didn't actually have the information that they needed to do an investigation. Someone just decided that they wanted to do an investigation and they worked out the dirty little details later. That means that if they decided they wanted to to investigate him first. It was a political hit, not a necessary evil in the quest for justice, as the left would have us believe. Republicans have been gearing up probes of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigators, as well as those who played a role in the creation of the Golden Showers dossier compiled by ex-British intelligence officer Christopher Steele in another email reviewed by the Hillsters Rock texted Page about an article mentioning the Bureau. Yep, the whole tone is anti-boo, just a tiny bit from us, he wrote. Page texted in response, makes me feel way less bad about throwing him under the bus. To the forthcoming CF article using an abbreviation that is unclear, congressional investigators want to know whether the pair had advanced knowledge of articles that appeared. According to the paper, what have we learned here today? We have learned that you must rise early in the morning if you want to frame the President of the United States, but that doesn't mean you'll be successful. Also, just because you're sleeping with someone, that doesn't mean the legal marital privilege extends to them. The biggest Hillary Clinton scandal no one's talking about. You've heard of Benghazi and Uranium One, but more than a year after Hillary Clinton's resounding loss to President Trump, she must now grapple with a new scandal, an ongoing Federal Election Commission investigation into an alleged $84 million money laundering scheme orchestrated by the Hillary Victory Fund, the $500 million joint fundraising committee between the Clinton campaign, the Democratic National Committee, and Democratic state parties, based on former DNC chairwoman Donna Brazile's public comments, a memo by former Clinton campaign manager Robbie Mook, and months of reviewing fake reports. The Committee to Defend the President has filed in fact complaint accusing the Democratic establishment of using state chapters as strawmen to circumvent campaign donation limits and launder money to Clinton's campaign. The Hillary Victory Fund solicited six-figure donations from major donors including Calvin Klein and Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane, papered them through state parties en route to DNC and then the Clinton campaign. In reality, the fund either never transferred $84 million to state parties sending the funds straight to the DNC, or it made the transfers without state parties having actual control of the money. In either case, the fund violated campaign finance laws in precisely the way the Supreme Court deemed illegal in its 2014 McCutcheon v. Fay ruling, and that's only the tip of allegations in this particular iceberg. If and when the allegations are confirmed by the fact, Clinton's $84 million money laundering scheme will go down as the single largest campaign finance scandal in U.S. history. Of course, the New York Times has not devoted a single drop of ink to the $84 million scandal, while MSNBC's lack of coverage is hardly surprising. CNN's radio silence is deafening and once again contradicts the network's self-described nonpartisanship. Even now, Washington Post's Dave Wagle, the only mainstream reporter to cover the scandal, acknowledged most coverage of the fact complaint had appeared in conservative media before he covered it. Can you imagine the media outrage if Republicans oversaw an $84 million money laundering scheme? Just consider the outrage they currently bear at every perceived impropriety by Trump, whether it be having a second scoop of ice cream or saying Merry Christmas. Alas, the liberal media continues to defend Clinton from herself. In 2016, an estimated 91% of nightly newscasts' Trump coverage was hostile to the president. When it came to covering personal controversies, ABC, CBS and NBC devoted 56% of its coverage to Trump and only 38% to Clinton's many scandals. It's no wonder the American people have lost trust in the liberal media. According to Gallup polling, the majority of 2016 U.S. voters believed media coverage favored Clinton over the president. Today, only 27% of Americans shave a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in newspapers. Even fewer Americans, 24%, trust television news. If the liberal media won't cover an unprecedented, meticulously documented $84 million scandal, why would they? And if the media won't do its job, then it falls on us as concerned citizens to hold our political leaders accountable and hold them accountable we will. The facts investigation of the latest Clinton scandal is already underway and could result in significant legal jeopardy for the Democratic establishment, their major donors, and Clinton herself. Clinton will answer for her actions whether the media covers it or not. You